Welcome to Hawkeye Tennis, where we review the big issues around the game. My name's Clint, thanks for joining us. On this week's update, we'll be looking at the results from Winston-Salem, plus we'll be looking at the draw for the US Open and the scenarios that could lead us to having a new world number one at the end of the final slam of the year. Let's get into it. Yes, the last of our appetizers for the US Open is complete. Winston-Salem this year has gone to Adrian Mannarino. The Frenchman saved multiple match points in his first round on the way to his second career title. The top 10 remains unchanged as we now head into the US Open, but our champ of the week, Mannarino, jumped 20 spots to number 45 in the world. Medvedev remains the world number one, and this is his 15th week on top of the rankings. No changes at the top of the race either, with none of our top 10 in action, all taking the week off to prepare for the big one, the US Open, our fourth and final Grand Slam of the year, and what a juicy one it's going to be. Let's take a look at the draw. Section 1 is Medvedev's quarter. He's certainly the favourite to make it out of there to the semi-final, but definitely has danger men to contend with in Kyrgios and possibly RBA and FAA. Tsitsipas is the top seed in Section 2. He'll have to contend with Berrettini and Ruud as his main challengers to make it out of the quarter. This will be Alcaraz's first slam where he's the hunted, not the hunter, and we'll see how he handles that pressure. He has an on-fire Borna Coric, veteran Marin Cilic, and Sinner and Hurkacz in his section. Rafa, gunning for Grand Slam number 23, has a nice section to allow him to settle into the tournament. Rafa, of course, only having played one match since Wimbledon due to that abdominal injury, and the draw's certainly been kind to him to allow him to find his rhythm early on in the tournament. So what's the potential pathway to the title for each of our top seeds? Medvedev will face his first potential hurdle in the round of 16 against RBA or Kyrgios. That could be a cracking match. He's then potentially looking at FAA, Tsitsipas or Berrettini, and then Nadal or Alcaraz. That's a tough draw for Medvedev, who's looking to defend his title. Nadal's draw looks pretty good, health permitting of course. It seems to be the story of Nadal's season so far. In amazing form, but his own body being one of the biggest challenges for him to overcome. As mentioned though, despite the lack of match play, he has a nice draw to play himself into the tournament. Shapovalov could push him if they meet in the quarters. Alcaraz will certainly be a handful if they meet in the semis, and Medvedev or Tsitsipas potentially in the final. Rafa bidding for his record 23rd Grand Slam and record equaling 5th US Open title. Alcaraz has a pretty tough draw if he wants to win his first slam. The big test starts from round 3 onwards with Coric and Cilic, before running into Hurkacz in the quarters, Nadal in the semis, and Medvedev or Tsitsipas in the final. Tsitsipas is looking at Cressy in round 3, Berrettini in the round of 16, which will be a handful, Ruud in the quarters, Medvedev in the semis. As mentioned, Tsitsipas won their previous matchup at Cincinnati a couple of weeks ago, which will give him a lot of confidence, and Alcaraz or Nadal in the final. Apart from the Grand Slam title itself being on the line at the US Open, so is the number one ranking. Tsitsipas has put himself in the frame to be world number one after the US Open with his final appearance in Cincinnati. He, along with Medvedev, Nadal or Alcaraz, will be the world number one if they win the tournament. Casper Ruud can also earn the number one ranking over the next fortnight, but unlike the others, he is relying on results that are out of his hands. He'll need to win the tournament and hope that Rafa doesn't progress past the semi-finals. Keep an eye on the channel during the US Open. We'll be covering each round as it's completed, and we'll be keeping track of the live rankings to see how each of these 5 are travelling in their quest for the number one spot. And that's us updated for the week. If you enjoyed the content, please like the video, share it, leave your comments down below, and consider subscribing to the channel. It helps us out greatly and is much appreciated. See you next week.